Acting President Yemi Osinbajo in Cross River State inaugurates developmental projects.
Nigeria or other satellites that are in constellation with the Nigerian on nano satellites. Then you can also relay information to students.
On the march again, Nigeria is set to make history with the launch of the first cube satellite in the West African sub-region.
The shortage of maize has been severe on poultry, definitely for a country that's facing food challenges.
Worried by the devastation of about 700,000 maize farms in Nigeria, Minister of Agriculture convenes meeting of stakeholders in Abuja. Thank you for joining us on NTA Network News. I am Ainde Shuaga. The federal government has described the continued attack of crops by army worm as a threat to national security. It is based on this that the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Audu Ogbe, convened a meeting with States Commissioners for Agriculture on ways to fight the army worms in the 36 states of the Federation. Musa Baba Aliyu has the details.
The government is concerned over the continued devastation by army worms on crops since 2016. It is estimated that the worms are in 700,000 maize farms nationwide and over 2 billion naira is needed to wipe out the pest. The meeting with commissioners for agriculture is aimed at looking at the possible method of attacking the army worm and how to raise the needed funds.
What is carried there is that it has started infesting the cocoa plantation. If care is not taken, I'm going to say my record zero production in maize.
The meeting also discussed cases of avian influenza that have continued to surface in some states.
The impact of the shortage of maize has been severe on poultry, and definitely for a country that's facing food challenges in the Northeast in particular, we can't afford to let it continue.
The army worm is suspected to have migrated to Nigeria through Benin Republic. Oyo and Kwara states were the first victims. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Key players in the water sector have been challenged to develop a comprehensive national water security policy and strategy that would enhance its availability in the country. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo said this in a message to a conference organized by the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPS, in Abuja. Olayinka Ojo reports.
Water security is fast becoming a source of concern in Nigeria, given the rapid population growth, fears of effects of global warming, and competition between diverse interests such as grazing, irrigation, urban water supply, and competition between upstream and downstream users. With providing basic water services and addressing growing scarcity still requiring attention, Acting President Yemi Osinbajo, represented by the Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, says government will stop at nothing in ensuring water security, as it is an important catalyst of Nigeria's survival.
It is imperative that we look at all those critical issues, that we allow for equal and equitable distribution of water resources across this country.
The Ministry of Defense is committed to best practices in water management and is encouraging research into viable technologies that will ensure more effective use and availability of water for defense needs.
Acting Director General, National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, Jonathan Juma, reiterated the Institute's commitment to profiling strategic options for a better society, as the session is designed to approach new dimension and perspective in the current discourse on water security, also captured in Sustainable Development Goals 6.
The National Institute engages in cutting-edge investigation into matters pertinent to national development.
We are duty-bound to develop our water resources with a view to improving access to safe drinking water and irrigation water.
In his paper entitled Water Security in Nigeria Towards a Comprehensive National Policy, Executive Director, National Water Research Institute, Kaduna, Dr. Emmanuel Adanu, noted the need for inland waterways to be secured.
Those waters generated internally ends up in Nigeria or in the ocean.
Other speakers also stressed the need for transboundary cooperation. In Abuja, Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
Acting President Yemi Osinbajo has scored Cross River State government high on employment generation for the people of the state. He stated this while inaugurating projects in Calabar. Uduagetim completes the report.
While inaugurating the garment factory, the acting president said the project executed by the Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade, apart from generating employment opportunities to the state, will as well enhance revenue generation to the state and nation. At the Monorail project, Professor Shibanja commended Governor Ayade for the actualization of the project. The acting president had earlier performed groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of Ayade Industrial Park.
This is a very special ceremony because it is a ceremony that tells us what it is.
The acting president was later led on a guided tour to some of Governor Ayade's project sites, which include pharmaceutical factory, rice city, among others. In Calabar, Udwak Etam, NTA News.
Nigeria is at the verge of recording another feat in satellite research and development as it launches West African sub-region's first cube satellite into space. The satellite, which will be launched into International Space Station from Cape Canaveral, USA, is expected to pierce the blue skies of Florida, USA at 10:50 p.m. Nigerian time. Science correspondent Kerian Umayo reports that the launch will be conducted by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, USA, NASA.
The CubeSat belongs to the class of nano-satellites developed to provide a platform for education on space exploration. It is widely used to conduct scientific investigations and technology demonstrations in space, enabling students and teachers to obtain hands-on flight hardware development experience. The research and development of the CubeSat was done through collaboration between National Space Research and Development Agency and Federal University of Technology, Akure.
The areas of e-education, this nanosatellite helps very well because you can have experts review, you can also have expert communication among professors to the students. You can conduct a lecture, let's say from US now, you can conduct a lecture that is targeted to Nigerian students in a remote area. So these satellites now, because it is in constellation, anytime the satellite is viewed across Nigeria or other satellites that are in constellation with the Nigerian on nanosatellites, then you can also relay information to students.
It is a cube-like structured satellite intended for low Earth orbit used to demonstrate a spacecraft technologies, and experts say it does not require huge amount of fuel for its launch, and the academia accounted for a majority of CubeSat launches across the globe until 2013 when its design for other purposes began. Now, the successful launch of the CubeSat tonight at 10:55 p.m. Nigerian time inches Nigeria towards growing the teaching and learning of space technologies in the nation's higher institutions of learning. Kirian Umayo, NTA News.
The Director General, National Space Research and Development Agency, Professor Seidu Mohammed, is here in the studio to provide a perspective on the launch of the satellite cube, and the Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Technology, Akure, is Professor Joseph Adiola Fuwakwe, joining us via Skype. Gentlemen, welcome to NTA Network News.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Let me begin with you, Director General. What does the successful launch of the satellite portend for the nation's space technology program?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. First of all, let me quickly remind Nigerians, in 2005, the Federal Executive Council approved a strategic roadmap for the development of space science and technology for the next 25 years, ending at the year 2030. In it, we started some developments. In 2011, we launched a number of satellites. To be specific, 17th of August 2011, we launched Nigerian Sat-2, which is the first, high-resolution window for sub-Saharan Africa. We also launched Sat-X. I may recall we earlier launched Sat-1 in 2003, and by December 2011, we relaunched NICOMSAT-1R. And we're happy that today at 10:55 local time, we'll be launching the first sub-Saharan African nano satellite, which will be launched from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida on SpaceX Falcon 9 Dragon capsule. What it portends for Africa is the fact that the Nigerian engineers and scientists continue to demonstrate their ability to put themselves together to design and build satellites. You may recall that Sat-X, built and launched on the 17th of August 2011, was completely designed and built by Nigerian engineers. And in order to keep the flag flying and to keep that skill on, we decided to collaborate in partnership with Federal University of Technology, Akure, as part of know-how technology transfer to Nigerian universities.
Thank you.
In collaboration with KSU University to launch the first nano-satellite in sub-Saharan Africa.
Thank you. In Akure, Professor Fuakwe, how would Nigeria leverage on the satellite for science education? You can hear me. I said, how would Nigeria leverage on the satellite for science education? Okay, appears that we're having faulty signal from Akure. Coming back to you, Director General, what is the local content of the satellite with regards to indigenous technology or direct participation of Nigerians in course designing and construction of the satellite?
You may recall part of that strategic roadmap for space science and technology development in Nigeria. We said we were going to build an assembly, integration and testing and design center. This we are yet to do. And it's in the light of that we are collaborating with other technical partners who are capable of offering us facilities. So what we have done, the Nigerian engineers have designed and used the facilities in Japan at Kyushu University with the support of the Japanese Space Agency to build the
looks like satellite is okay now. Can we get to Professor Fuakwe? Please, quickly, how would Nigeria leverage on the satellite for science education?
The Federal University of Technology, Akure, is collaborating with NASA and University of Kyoto in Japan to develop nano satellites. This will be the first time postgraduate students in any Nigerian university will have hands-on experience in nano satellite development. It will provide sustainable capacity building in nanotechnology to also afford the Federal University of Technology the opportunity of being a hub for development and training in satellite technology. This, of course, will improve ranking of a university, and it will also be able to attract grants in area of space technology development.
Now, Federal University of Technology Akure has taken the lead. What is your counsel to other institutions?
The University of Technology Akure started a collaboration with NASA about 5 years ago. And Federal University of Technology Akure is the best university of technology. We have a lot of power in space technology, and that was what favored the university for being selected as a participant in this space technology project at Kyoto in Japan.
Professor, quickly, what is the course designing and construction of satellite for content development in Nigerian institutions?
the cost.
What's the local content of the satellite with regards to indigenous technology or direct participation of Nigerians in cost designing and construction of satellite?
Yeah, like I said, they will require some elements of good facilities to be able to build satellite of that magnitude. And in the light of that, you realize that at this point, there's yet to be an assembly and integration testing and design center in Nigeria, which is it's in the light of that we had to enter into collaboration with Kyushu University in Japan. And we had to use our engineers and scientists had to use their facilities.
Thank you.
They started by the design and building of that satellite. So to that extent, it will require some time, maybe sometimes in 2018, for our facilities to be fully on, and then our
Thank you so much, Professor Seydou Mohammed, the Director General, National Space Research and Development Agency. And I thank you too also Professor Joseph Adiola Fuwakwe, the Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Technology in Akure. Continuing with the news, the House of Representatives has stressed the need for Nigeria to vigorously pursue the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations Development Programme. As part of legislative intervention, the legislators have passed for second reading a bill for an act to establish the Sustainable Development Fund. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
15 years after the end of the Millennium Development Goals, the United Nations introduced Sustainable Development Goals, which seeks, among other issues, to address social inequality among member nations. But for members of the House of Representatives, this cannot be realized without an established fund. This came in a bill sponsored by Abdullahi Umar Farouk.
To establish a management board for the fund which shall be responsible for receiving monies accruing to the fund.
The essence of this very bill is to ensure that SDG is adequately funded.
Bills for an act to establish the Federal Capital Territory Area Service Commission, sponsored by Representatives Uzoma Nkem Abonta and Samuel Ekon, and the one by Representative Abubakar Amuda Kanike for an act to provide for entrenchment of civic responsibility behavioral philosophy in Nigeria, were also passed for second reading.
Absence of local government service commission or area council service commissions in Abuja is creating serious lacuna difficulties in the operation of civil service, the area council's service commission.
Part of what is going on now is an ad hoc arrangement that is not sustainable.
And I appeal to every members who reside in FCT here in Abuja, we must put our people first.
All this will make sure that we have better Nigerians in the future who understand what it is to be a Nigerian and what the laws of this country says.
There was a rowdy session when the bill for an act to establish the Southeast Development Commission came up for second reading.
Order, please.
The bill, sponsored by Deputy Minority Leader Chukwuka Onyema, was rejected.
In order to be true, I'll put it again. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. The nays have it.
All other items on the order paper were stepped down from the National Assembly. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The Senate has confirmed the appointment of 15 resident electoral commissioners out of the 27 sent to it by the presidency. National Assembly correspondent Waziri Zeyano reports that the Senate resolved to confirm the remaining 12 nominees at a later date.
12 of those confirmed are new appointments, while 3 are reappointments. The confirmation followed consideration of the report on the Senate Committee on INEC presented by its chairman, Suleiman Nazifi, who said, although all 27 nominees sent by the presidency have been cleared by relevant security agencies, the committee was able to conclude screening of 15.
After a thorough scrutiny of all the relevant documents of the nominees, members of the committee were satisfied with the qualification experience, and suitability of 15 nominees in the first batch, while the remaining 12 nominees are still undergoing screening by the committee.
Senate President Bukola Saraki said the confirmed resident electoral commissioners are coming at a very important time to complement the new reform put in place by the amendment of the Electoral Act.
On behalf of all of us here, congratulate the new nominees as resident commissioners for INEC, and hope that wish them a very successful tenure.
Report of the Committee on Works on Federal Roads Authority Bill 2017 presented by Senator Kabiru Gaya, however, suffered slight setback when the plenary asked that some issues raised be removed and the report be redrafted.
The Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Works on the Federal Roads Authority, etc. Bill 2017 and approved as follows: Clause 1 to 2 as recommended, 3 to 6 as amended, 7 to 8 as recommended, 9 to 11.1 as amended. Further consideration of the bill deferred to another legislative day.
In the meantime, Senate President Bukola Saraki has debunked allegations that the legislative arm is working against President Buhari. He stated this while receiving National Executive of the Jama'atu Izalatul Bid'ah wa Iqamatus Sunnah, led by Sheikh Muhammad Sani Hayajingir at the National Assembly.
Let me also use this opportunity to reassure you of our commitment, all of us here in the Senate and National Assembly, to the good governance, to the growth of this country and stability of this country.
Leader of the Islamic group, Sheikh Sani Hayajingir, commended the National Assembly for rejecting same-sex marriage and called on the legislative arm to ensure that the current gender bill reflects tenets of all religions. From the National Assembly, Wazir Zayan, NTA News.
Civil servants have been urged to apply the executive orders as handed over by the acting president for improved business environment and service delivery in the country. Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Winifred Oyoita, made the plea while addressing a cross-section of senior civil servants at the State House, Abuja. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday has the details.
Support for local content in the public sector procurement in their ministries, departments and agencies dominated the thought pattern of the forum. Represented by the Permanent Secretary, Common Services, Chinya Amaka Oha, the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, said efficient implementation of the executive orders will bring about a paradigm shift in the conduct of government business.
It is worthy of note that government is committed to creating transparency in the business environment and enunciation of policies that will motivate investors to invest their funds in profitable business activities in the country.
The executive orders hinges on transparency in the business environment to stimulate the nation's economy in delivering the expected promises to the people. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Ahead on the news tonight, luck smiles on a pensioner who has given up of getting his pension. You sure do not want to miss the story.
Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. 3 little birds pitch by my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true, saying, this is my message to you. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright.
There's no limit to what you can do with data. With Nigeria's widest data network, it's amazing what you can make happen on MTN.
This is my message to you.
I can't believe she just rejected me and my camera.
She rejected my lights.
How can she not want makeup?
Maybe when the battery dies, she'll come back to us.
Nah, not with a 4,000 milliampere battery.
Experience the best selfies of your life. Gioni A1 Super Selfie Super Battery.
Have you seen the new Opera Mini?
Browse faster. Get the latest news. Download videos and extend your data so you can browse all day.
Upgrade to Opera Mini.
Download now for free.
The National Judicial Council will be conducting a pension verification exercise of all retired judicial officers and staff currently on its payroll in the country to update its records. The affected retired judicial officers and staff are all retired federal judicial officers, all retired staff of the judiciary with federal government share of pension, retired judicial staff that worked in the federal government of the First Republic, the regional government, the states created in 1967 and March 31st, 1976, and whose names were transferred from the office of the head of service to the National Judicial Council. Newly retired judicial officers who are yet to receive their retirement benefits, they are to appear with relevant documents before the officers of the National Judicial Council, who will be conducting the verification exercise in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country from 5th to 21st June 2017. Note, this exercise does not include retired judicial staff currently on contributory pension scheme. Please see National Dailies for details. Signed, Management, National Judicial Council, NJC.
Hey, now who they here? My name now Mr. Shortcut. I dey mind my money. Now cheap one I dey buy. Standard, we size. Now to buy cheap one. Hey, now one kind cable for my yard. A cheap building material where we take build my office. I think say I dey save money. Office building collapse and fire burn my house.
You don't see what happened to Mr. Shortcut? Well, Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, don't ready for action and say enough of pain, loss and wastage. And if you see product where no dey correct, call the SON office when near you or SON help desk. Standards Organization of Nigeria, improving life through standards.
إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين والعاملين عليها والمؤلفة قلوبهم وفي الرقاب والغارمين.
The management of the Nigeria Television Authority NTA, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria FRCN, and Voice of Nigeria VON cordially invites the Muslim Ummah and the general public to the 12th annual Ramadan lecture, which will inshallah take place on Saturday, 3rd June 2017 at Lumana Multipurpose Center, River Road, off Jabi Road East, off Sultan Road, Ngwarimi Jare, Kaduna, by 9 a.m. Topic of discuss: ongoing charity in Islam, to be delivered by Sheikh Dr. Isa Alit Pantami, Director General NIDA. Chief host, His Excellency Malan Nasir Ahmad Erufai, Executive Governor, Kaduna State. The Minister of Information, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, will be the special guest of honor, and His Royal Highness Alhaji Dr. Shehu Usman Musa III, Emir of Kefi, will be the chairman of the occasion. Host, Malam Yakubu Muhammad, the Director General NTA, Malam Mansur Liman, Director General FRCN, and Dr. Osita Okechuku, Director General VON. You are welcome. Announcer, Organizing Committee.
Do you know that the Nigerian police now operates in the best international practices of policing? Do you know that the Nigerian police has been restructured to be more accountable and responsive to all your security challenges? Now, what the police demand from you is your trust, your collaborative efforts by providing necessary information about criminals and their activities in your neighborhood. Be vigilant to achieve our creed as we promise. We shall police the country based on international core values of policing with integrity. We shall ensure that rule of law prevails in our actions and activities. We shall respect diversity, display courage, show compassion, and demonstrate professionalism. We shall operate within the principle of democratic policing. We shall shun corruption, and we shall make Nigeria safer and secured under the leadership of IGP Ibrahim Otum Idris.
Let the wind of change blowing across the country chase away crime for the benefit of our society. Yes, the Nigerian police says this change must come with peace and tranquility.
This message was brought to you by the Public Relations Department of the Nigerian Police Force.
Welcome back to NTA Network News. The federal government says it remains committed in protecting the fundamental human rights of all citizens, especially in the promotion of freedom of expression of individuals and groups. This was contained in the message of the acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, to the 2017 Annual Democracy Day lecture organized by the Save Democracy Group, Africa. Political correspondent Abdullahi Garba Brenin-Kudu reports.
The theme for this year's democracy lecture is sustainable democracy and national question. The acting president Yemi Osinbajo says in addressing national question, equity and justice are paramount, of which the present administration remains committed to. Represented by the special advisor to the president on political matters, the acting president says government allows free speech as one of the principles of democracy.
If we are able to resolve these issues, if we are able to banish hunger from our land, if we are able to provide housing for those who are homeless, if we are able to provide education free for our citizens, then of course the issue of national question will become a luxury.
Coming from the diverse ethno-cultural background of the country, speakers stress on the need for equity and justice, while political parties must be democratized, not to serve only as vehicles for winning elections.
You need to have a political party that itself is internally democratic.
A well-run democratic system ensures that public institutions manage public resources and conduct public affairs in a manner that is free of corruption and abuse.
Let us go back to true federalism.
The Safe Democracy Group Africa is a non-political group established in 2014 to promote democratic ideas. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Brenin-Kudu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, at a town hall meeting with the people, acting president Yemi Osinbajo appealed to them to be patient to see the fulfillment of the federal government's promises for the region and the entire nation.
Is on our part, not just a commitment, but we sincerely want to do everything that we have proposed and we have planned to do for this state and for all other states of the Federation of Nigeria. Just listening to you on the ceding of Bakassi as a result of the judgment of the ICJ, this is a development that all of us consider a loss. But the president strongly believes, and I'm sure that many of us know that he has expressed himself several times on this issue, that while we ruminate over the legal issues, we must not allow Nigerian citizens in Ikang and elsewhere to suffer.
He assured the youth of the Buhari presidency's commitment towards a great future for every youth of the country. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, and the Bayelsa State government are to build a power plant to boost electricity in the state. Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Dr. Mekanti Baru, made their offer while playing host to the governor of Bayelsa State, Seriake Dixon, in Abuja. In addition to the power plant, which will be built at the industrial park, the NNPC will support Bayelsa State in its trust fund initiative and the Brass Fertilizer Company, as these projects will meaningfully engage the youths in the country. The Bayelsa State Governor, Seriake Dixon, commended the laudable achievements of the NNPC GMD as the state looks forward to the commencement of the power project. Degrading Boko Haram is a major achievement of the Buhari administration, worthy of commendation, especially the military and the ongoing Police Trust Fund Bill before the National Assembly, when passed into law, will create effective policing desirable to achieve national aspiration. These views were expressed by guests on NTA's current affairs program, Moment for Thought.
Patriotism to me, as a soldier, is about what you feel about your soldier in the battlefield. You can't put a soldier in the battlefront and you expect him to perform when you are playing politics with his life?
I will commend the government of President Muhammadu Buhari for dislodging the insurgents in their strongholds, and also with the recent return of 106 Chibok girls, and by securing the cooperation of our neighboring countries.
Moment for Thought comes up tonight at 10:30 on NTA Network Service. The federal government has expressed determination to uphold the principles of international protection for all vulnerable persons in the country. Federal Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, Sadia Farouk Umar, said this while distributing food and non-food items at the Nyanya Gwandara Transit Camp. Ado Adamu completes the story.
The Nyanya Gwandara Transit Camp, located at the outskirts of Abuja, provides housing accommodation for over 21 families of different nationals who are either refugees or asylum seekers in Nigeria. Recognizing the humanitarian mandate of the Commission and sympathizing with the critical condition of the people, the Federal Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, says the Commission is intensifying effort to provide protection and assistance to them.
The Commission has also mobilized its resources to commence programs to support economic empowerment as part of the integration process of refugees and other persons of concern.
Governor Tanko Al-Makura of Nasarawa State, represented by his deputy, Silas Agara, commended the federal government effort in dealing with the multi-dimensional humanitarian challenges confronting the nation.
You have changed the face, you have changed the story completely, and you have brought the relief and smiles on the faces of our asylum seekers and IDPs.
The beneficiaries expressed appreciation to the federal government for the hospitality they enjoyed, describing Nigeria as a true brother with the African heart.
From the Gwandara Nyanya Refugees Camp, Ado Adamu also, NTA News.
Similarly, the federal government's concern for improved welfare of citizens has again manifested through the payment of backlog of arrears of a federal government pensioner, Awanye Okehuno, who had been taken off the payroll since January 2010. Executive Secretary, Pensions Transitional Arrangement Directorate, Sharon Ikeazo, said the discovery was an attestation to the Directorate's commitment for improved service delivery. Olajide Bello reports.
Awanye Okebuno was compelled to visit the headquarters of Petard as a last-ditch effort to shore up funds for the funeral of his mother, as he is the only child. The discovery, however, came as a pleasant surprise.
I was surprised that when I came today, they said I've been paid. I was even doubting it. Madam checked and discovered that I've been paid. But since that I placed my name pension roll, but the grace of God is upon my life.
Overwhelmed with this development, he lauded the effort of Petard, urging it not to rest on its oars by diligently discharging its duties. Looking back at the discovery, Executive Secretary, Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, Sharon Ikiazo, described it as dividend of concerted efforts through the continuous, rigorous and steady verification and biometric capturing exercise under its mandate for retired workers of the Defined Benefit Scheme. She said Okebuno would continue to receive his monthly payment as at when due without approaching Petard. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Lagos Network Center has the next sets of reports. Jennifer is our guide. Over to you now, Jennifer.
Good evening and a warm welcome to Lagos. The Lagos High Court, sitting at Igboshere, Lagos, has issued a bench warrant for the arrest of Shola Olumofe, one of the suspects indicted for the collapse of the Lekki Garden building in which 5 persons lost their lives. Vienna Churuba, who was at the Federal High Court at Igboshere today, reports that Justice Sibyl Waka ordered the arrest.
Shola
Olomofe is the second of the 10 suspects indicted for the collapse of Lekki Garden building of 8 March 2016. He had challenged the jurisdiction of the court in a motion on notice which the court had dismissed. Counsel to Olomofe, Richard Ahononoba, is challenging his inclusion in the 6-count multiple charge of failure to obtain building approval and involuntary manslaughter. Lagos State Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General Adeniji Kazim argued that Olomofe's presence to stand trial is indispensable. Justice Sebe Nwaka, in resolving all issues in favor of Lagos State Commissioner for Justice, held that the dispensation of the defendant's presence to stand trial or trial in absentia is a negation of the rule of fair hearing. However, there was a mild drama when counsel to one of the suspects, Henry Odofin, queried the moral right of the state to institute the action where the Lagos State Building Agency and the state government are vicariously liable for the incident and should be arraigned. The suspects will be arraigned on the 14th of June. In Lagos, Viera Chumuba, NTA News.
Vera Chimuba reporting from the Lagos High Court at Igboshere. Now, participants at a symposium have described African dress code as a silent conveyor of messages, value, and culture. They made this known at a symposium in Lagos with the theme, African Dress Code. It was organized by the Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization, CBAC. Annie Daniels reports that the symposium was in line with the present administration's desire to promote made-in-Nigeria goods.
Findings from Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization reveals that in time past, Africa's arts influenced Western arts to a great extent. However, with globalization and Western liberalism, the story is no longer the same. This, it says, has led to the near extinction of some moral values and economic crunch.
Unless and until you're able to come to terms with your environment, your history, and your tendencies, you cannot tell the world, here I am.
Resource persons from the academia took turns to present papers on the theme of the symposium, African Dress Code. They unanimously agreed that dress code is aimed at achieving goals such as uniformity and identity.
And dress code here is a kind of guidance, a kind of rule. It's not a strict rule as such. People who you affect, who you control by the way you dress, will see some good sense.
Look at Korea, look at China. All these countries, all these great nations did not, jettison. They didn't, put aside their own being, their own tradition.
We define what we mean by formal dress code by incorporating in such dress code some African variants of attire.
The Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization was established in 1979. It is a Pan-African multidimensional documentation and research institute in Lagos. Annie Daniels, NTA News.
You're still watching NTA Network News. We'll take a break now for some messages. The news continues shortly in Abuja with Ainde. Please stay with us.
This must be one of Mother Nature's greatest gifts. But there's something else it gives us. When we see such beauty, we want to share it with those we love. That's what LG wants you to see. Just what we see now, through our technology. LG OLED TV.
Taste the goodness of real orange pulp in every gulp. 5 Alive Pulpy Orange, now in your neighborhood.
Federal government commended for its continued drive to reposition the economy Here is Chiazalam Ekiye with details of this and closing figures on the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
Good evening. Time now to talk business. The acting president, in reeling out the scorecard of the Buhari administration in the past 2 years, says the federal government's efforts have been targeted at a combination of short-term interventions to cushion the pain, as well as medium to long-term efforts aimed at rebuilding an economy that will no longer depend on the price of crude oil, with focus on agriculture and food security, energy, power, petroleum, industrialization and transport. Well, it is the first day in the month of June. As the clock ticks, how has the government fared and what are the expectations of the people?
Economically, I'll rate them as having performed well, in the sense that the government has arrested a decelerating trend of recession. Job creation is fundamental. Then the issue of mining, support to mining and support to agriculture. We need to see more of actions.
Talking about creating an enabling environment for business to thrive, the government has been commended for making good its promise by bringing on board the private sector in the economy, as it inaugurates the Presidential Industrial Policy and Competitiveness Advisory Council, aimed at boosting partnership between the government and the private sector.
The private sector must drive, because that's the only place you will have people being confident enough to use it.
And latest report by the Nigerian Electronic Fraud Forum for 2016 reveals that electronic payment transaction fraud rose by 82%, with an estimated 2.19 billion naira lost to cyber criminals. The report, however, notes that despite the increase in reported fraud cases, the industry was able to reduce fraud by 2.7%, while about 511 million naira fraud cases were recorded across the counter. About 464 million naira was lost through automated teller machines.
Quite a number of people have complained that they've been affected one way or the other. Everybody gets spam mails. A lot of people complain their accounts have been debited without authority.
And OPEC Secretary General Mohamed Barkindo says it is too early to say when production cuts could be imposed on Libya and Nigeria. He notes that on oil price decline, Nigeria has no issues with people taking positions in the markets. To the money markets, the naira is expected to be stable in the coming week. The naira has been stable across board, both at the official and the parallel markets. Here's a graphical illustration of how the market fared. And that's the package at this time. I'm Chiazalam Ekiye. Please stay tuned for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Chiazalam. Nigerian Navy donates medical items to IDPs in Borno. Lami brings details of this and more from Maiduguri Network Center.
Hello, and thank you for joining us in Maiduguri. The federal government is to work with Borno State government to ensure that the 515 trucks of assorted food items allotted the state reach targeted beneficiaries. Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, solicited the support of Governor Kashim Shettima during a visit to the government house as part of her official engagement in the state, preparatory to the official presentation of the commodities by the acting president, Yemi Osinbajo. Mohammed Guni has the details.
Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, said the federal government has allocated 30,000 metric tons of food items to the northeast, comprising rice, millet, sorghum, and soya beans. Borno State, according to the minister, gets 50% of the allocation, and that the acting president will personally plug up distribution of the commodities in Borno next week.
We seek your support, Your Excellency, to determine where the food should go, and also to have your team, join our team, to make sure that the food is delivered right to the doorsteps of the people in need in the camps, but also in the host communities.
Governor Kashim Shettima expressed gratitude to the federal government for its continued support to Borno, adding that the commodities will not have come at a better time, considering that Ramadan fast is on.
And it will come in quite handy because even in the best of times, as I told you earlier, our people are the poorest of the poor, and Boko Haram has further pauperized them. I want to thank you most sincerely for the visit.
The governor assured the support and readiness of the state government to ensure the successful implementation of the intervention program. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
The acting general officer commanding 7th Division of the Nigerian Army, Brigadier General Ibrahim Manu Yusuf, says he will consolidate and build on the achievements of his predecessor in the ongoing counter-insurgency war. The GOC stated this when he paid a courtesy call on Governor Kashim Shettima at the Government House, Maiduguri. Maimuna Garba has the report.
Brigadier General Ibrahim Manu Yusuf said the visit was to pay respect to the governor being the chief security officer of the state, noting with gratitude the support given to the 7th Division by the government and people of the state.
I want to assure you that we will continue to work with you. We know that we cannot make progress without your support, so we will continue to call for your support.
While noting the achievements recorded in the counter-insurgency war, the governor, however, pointed out that a lot needs to be done to bring the menace to an end, citing pockets of attack on some routes.
A lot has been accomplished, and we have to give credit to the Nigerian Army for accomplishing so much.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Navy has presented assorted medical items to the Borno state government as part of activities to mark the 2017 Naval Week. Commodore Mohammed Ibrahim said the gesture was to complement the effort of the state government in addressing the health needs of the IDPs in the state. Governor Kashim Shettima assured the Navy that the items donated will get to the target beneficiaries. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
And that's it on this end. It's back to our day in Abuja for more reports.
Thank you. A bit on sports and happenings around the world after this time out. Stay with us.
Helen! Your kitchen gets 10 out of 10. Thank you. This also gets a 10. Should we see the toilet now? Sure. This gets just 1.
It is clean.
But not perfect 10.
Better than my detergent and bleach? Impossible.
Challenge? Try Apex compared to bleach and detergent. Apex sticker formulation removes yellow stains times better, giving you a sparkling clean toilet.
Wow.
Now you also take that?
Perfect 10x challenge.
Also available in 200 ml pack for 200 naira only.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is working to ensure access to safe, good quality essential medicines with the World Health Organization pre-qualification of Made in Nigeria pharmaceutical products, stiffer penalties for fake drug offenders with a review of NAFDAC laws, national, regional, and international collaborations, cutting-edge technologies, including the mobile authentication service.
NAFDAC as an agency is indeed doing so much to protect the health of our nation. I urge everyone to support NAFDAC in ridding the country of fake drugs and unwholesome products.
Let us support NAFDAC to win the war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Welcome back, and it's time for Global Tidbits with Talatu Ezirike.
Tension between Sudan and Egypt deepens as Sudanese authorities banned Egyptian street vendors from selling their wares in the country's western region of Darfur. The disagreement came after Sudan accused Egypt of supporting Darfur rebels, an accusation Cairo dismissed. Similarly, China denies involvement in Uganda's smuggling racket. The reaction follows the new investigation order by Uganda government to ascertain compromise in the exportation of illegal ivory. And a 2017 Global Peace Index shows that levels of peace around the world improved slightly for the first time since the Syria war began. That is on Global Tidbits. Talat Izurike, NTA News.
And time now for sports with Tamara Ebiwe.
Nigerian Super Eagles moved 2 steps to 38th position in the monthly FIFA World Ranking.
Evening in Paris, France. A quick check on the weather forecast for Friday is next.
Glad to have you join us on the weather segment. I am Joyce Ogunleye. We anticipate a bit of respite in rainfall activities across most cities in Nigeria, and so Friday morning looks pretty good for outdoor activities, although possibilities of localized thunderstorms over areas south of Kaduna down to the fringes of Kogi State are most probable, with localized rains over the southeast inland and its coastal belt. With more insolation as the day progresses, we expect localized thunderstorms over 1 or 2 places across the country, including the southern cities. And that will be all from the Nigerian Meteorological Agency. Join us again.
Before we go, a quick reminder that you can watch all our stories and much more when you log on to our website, www.nta.ng. And that's NTA Network News. Thank you for watching. Good night.